was making 20K to 25K month-end commissions, being the number 2 closer on Jeremy Miner's sales team. And we're gonna break down one of my sales call recordings. This prospect initially said,
"Hey, listen, I'm just gonna watch some free YouTube videos before signing up."
So you'll see what I do to pre-handle that, to not get that objection at the end, and why I did it. And later turns out that this prospect didn't have much money.
I can't do that.
Money aside, do you feel like this could help you get?
So you'll see what I do, something creative to help him go find the money, to actually move forward, and why I did that. Make sure to watch the whole thing, that way you can go steal it and use it in your next sales call to smack more deals.
Obviously, you want to close more deals, but what do you feel like you need help with specifically?
And if you notice, I don't really do a frame. When I say frame, I mean, you know the thing you typically say, some people call it the agenda, which is, hey Jack, so how these calls typically go is I'm gonna ask you some questions, and if we can help, I can just walk you through how it works, yada, yada, yada. There's different variations of it. I don't like to do that usually, just because I found that it's just more conversational to go straight into the point, and I'm more direct in the way that I communicate and the way that I sell. So everyone has his own different thing. Now, if you also notice that I do a small joke, right? So the prospect said, I just got back from the gym. So I say, yeah, I can see that, man, getting yoked. And I say that with a very straight face because I'm more of a dry sense of humor and I'm more sarcastic, right? So it doesn't mean that you have to be like me. But I want you to understand the principle behind that. The principle is that we do a small joke to actually disarm the prospect. Why that's important is the beginning of the call. It's because when prospects first come in, they have a bit of a guard up. Because we got to realize, to them, we're a complete stranger. And so they have no reason to open up to us. So you may get a bit frustrated the fact that maybe some prospects are being vague with you, being surface area with you. Well, at the end of the day, they may be, but it's our job to help disarm them a little bit, right? So when I said disarm, meaning that loosen up and help them see that we're human so they can actually tell us about the problems and their goals and different things like that. So different things I say, when I was a sales rep, when I was in the face of the business, typically the things I'll say, yeah, just so you know, I have a severe case of KBF. And they'll be like, what's KBF? Korean bitch face. So if I look like I'm pissed off at you, I'm not. It's just my Asian mother will throw slippers at me. So I just have a straight face, just so you know. And they'll kind of laugh like, ha, that's fine. And what they would do is now they're more open to telling me about their problem and their pain points and stuff like that. Right? Very small, but let's go into it.
I thought it was I think it's getting to the client's pain. Because right now I work.
And then the first question, what I do is there's different variations of it, right? Some people say, do you know what you're looking for? With this case, I'm like, well, obviously you want to close more deals, but what do you feel like you need help with in particular? Because depending on the offer, there's new opportunity offer and an improvement offer. So the difference is that if you sell BizOp, there'll be a new opportunity offer. So they're working a 9 to 5, want to start a business. At that point, you can be more broad with your question, such as, well, do you know what kind of outcome you're looking for from starting a business? With the business, what's the goal that you want? So you can do stuff like that. And then at that point, the answer you're trying to uncover is like make more money and have more time, right? Now, in the thing I sell, which is sales training, they're already doing that thing. So they want to improve the thing that they're already doing. So at that point, you want to get something more tangible, something more specific. We don't need to go too nitty-gritty into the detail, but something specific. Well, this guy said, okay, I want to get better at going deeper into pain, more than enough. Again, it's not the words itself that matters. It's not the question that matters. It's the answers we uncover. That's more important. So however you get it, that's all fine. This is just how I do it. Just keep listening.
I work at a tax relief firm. And we've got people that range from anywhere from $5,000 in debt to $100,000. And I would love to say it's a specific thing, but I probably just suck at sales, at closing, because the things where I excel at, like my previous sales jobs, were door-to-door, in person, like when we had to swap out cable boxes back in the early 2000s.
And if you notice, I'm doing something called a back channel, which is as he's talking, every now and then I'm going like, yep, right. So some people call it verbal cues. In linguistics, there's a term called back channel. What that is as the other person is talking, you make those sounds here and there. What that does is now it helps the other person see that you're engaged in the conversation, you're listening. So it makes it more conversational. And when you go later on, you're going to interject and probe to go deeper into pain to lead better the conversation. And when you go interject, it doesn't seem like you're actually interrupting and cutting them off, but it seems more like a normal back and forth because you're already making sounds, right? If you sit there in silence, and then say, how has it been going on for? Try to interject, it's gonna seem more abrupt. So the person's gonna be like, what the fuck, you just cut me off. But when you do this, right, those back channels, now it doesn't seem like that.
Then I did book memberships
Yeah.
at a bookstore. Then I've done mortgages. That's a little bit easier because like they have that intent is there already.
Is this cold calling, by the way, or is it like inbound or outbound?
At the tax relief agency.
Yeah.
That is I wouldn't say it's cold calling. I think, but I don't think that they know that they're on a list because they search for something on Google like I owe 5,000.
The reason why I asked that question is just to see if we can even help them or not, because with the offer that I do now is we don't help people with cold calling, so that was the reason why I asked it.
Dollars in taxes, and then all these tax relief firms get the exact same leads, and usually whoever makes contact first.
Okay. So they're looking for something. It's not like they're not even looking for a solution.
Right.
Okay, cool. We can work with that. So what are you doing to build more pain and get better at sales now?
Right.
So we're going to now their current situation, whatever they're doing now to get the outcome that they want, and it's called threading conversation. Because what are you doing to insert what they just said now? And in the insert, he said he wants to get better at building pain, right? So we take whatever they said and use that in the next question to target and swing next to that. What that does is now it makes the conversation more conversational instead of having to do the sales guy thing, which is, gotcha, John. What I'm hearing is that you want to build more pain. Is that right? Which usually seems it's a sales guy thing, because when you talk with your best friend, do you really talk like that? Like if my friend, let's say we're talking, and then I say, dude, I was at the club last night, I saw this cute blonde. And if my friend goes, gotcha, Brian, so what I'm hearing is that you saw this cute blonde, is that right? If they do that, I'm gonna be like, dude, what the fuck is going on here? Right? So when you do the threading conversation, without having to do the sales guy thing, it shows that you're listening and make it more conversational, more poignant.
I've got a script. They've got a script that I'm just following, and I've modified it based on like what I've seen in your videos on YouTube.
How long have you been doing that?
I started.
We go right into how long we've been doing that, because the whole point of this question, we don't need to know the nitty gritty of everything they're doing to get the outcome that they want. All we're uncovering is, are they doing something or not? The reason why we do that is because from there we can start to uncover problems from it. Because if you try to uncover a problem from nothing, then it's trying to grasp out of thin air. So this helps.
In November, I found your videos maybe last week.
Okay. So you've been doing it for quite a bit. So like, what are you seeing in your results that's making you feel like maybe you kind of suck at sales?
I don't know. I mean, like the first month,
So again, we're threading conversation. We're using the word he used and then spitting out back to him as a question.
I was doing fairly well. I got like 6 closes my first week.
Okay.
And then I just noted going down. And maybe it was a season because like after the holidays, after the New Year, it started picking up again. But I did notice that like, whereas the other people that started at the same time as me, they got way more closes and they had previous phone sales experience. And they've already moved up into better queues and stuff like that. So they're getting better leads. Whereas I'm stuck with like really crappy leads.
Okay. I mean, we got to work with what we got, right? So what do you feel like you may be doing on the calls or maybe not doing?
The reason why I said that is he was seeing a bit of externalization of responsibility. So he said, oh, maybe it's the crappy lead. So he's like, oh, we just got to work with what we got, right? So I'm slowly chipping away at it to get him to take responsibility. Because otherwise he's just going to blame the leads, and then now he's not going to want a solution to that.
That's causing you to lose out on deals that you should be closing.
You know, that's the thing. I don't know. I think maybe it's just being more conversational. Because whenever they talk to me, I'm like, hang on, I'm taking notes here. And if I go silent for any reason, it's not because I'm not listening. I'm taking notes for the experts to take a look at. And I'm automatically communicating that, hey, I'm not the expert.
Yeah, and when you're talking to someone, and let's say that other person's like just kind of silent and just there's like a buffer between the talk, like, how do you feel they're kind of viewing you as?
They're like, I think they're like, oh, come on, let's get through this already.
That makes sense. Okay. But why?
So the question I just asked there, like, how do you feel they view you as? So there's something I learned from Jeremy is how do you think people perceive you as? Because now, especially in this context, now, oh yeah, maybe they think this way. So now they get self-conscious and brings out more of the pain points, right? And also ask that in a question format, made him think. Now it sees more doubt, brings out more urgency. It's like, oh shit, I never thought about that.
I look at maybe some outside help with this now instead of just, I don't know, you said watching YouTube, so I just watch more YouTube and hope and pray that you figure it out.
The reason why I asked it that way, if you notice, I emphasize the now, right? What has you looking for some outside help now? That's the first part that I asked. The reason why I put the emphasis on the time frame now is because he earlier mentioned that he found out about me like a week ago, right? So he found out about a week ago, and so from there, I want to add more urgency because otherwise, what is he gonna do? Or I just want to watch more YouTube and like see how it goes. He still brings it up, but we're gonna pre-handle that. That's the first part. The next part I asked him about is the basic YouTube. Why not just do that? Because if we don't address it here, what's the objection we're gonna get at the end? Oh, dude, I just found out about it early, so I'm just gonna keep watching YouTube, right? Now, at the end, you can still handle that objection after the price, but it's just easier to handle it before because after the price, they're more defensive. So again, not impossible, just better to pre-handle these things earlier.
You know, I like to speed up learning.
Okay.
That's one thing that I've learned in my life. If I can speed up the learning, that's better. But I do like, and I'm definitely want to implement more of your free stuff before I sign up for any program with you. I just want to get some more information on it so I have a goal to work towards and know that we're a good fit based on your free information before I sign up for that.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say if a prospect told you that. And listen, I have this problem, but I just want to do more free stuff and just take longer to get to my goal.
I would be like, yeah, I'd be like, hey, you know, that's your prerogative, but it looks like the IRS is going to keep deducting money from your account until you go with us because we're the only way out of this.
You see how he's laughing? So there's called a congruency frame. So it doesn't work only for salespeople. You can use it in different contexts, right? So the reason why I ask, hey, why would you say if a prospect told you that? It's like, oh, you know, I'll tell them this. So in his mind, he's laughing because like, oh man, maybe I should follow my own advice, right? So this can also go for, let's say if there are parents and if they have children, then you can be like, oh, why would you say if your children told you that? Or what if your friend is overweight and they say they're going to go watch a whole bunch of YouTube videos trying to figure this out on their own instead of getting a personal trainer? You can also use it that way as well. Just like, well, I'd give them this advice. Then later you can say, well, why not just take your own advice?
Yeah. So how about you take your own advice?
There we go. Because people don't want to feel like a hypocrite. Now, there's right and wrong ways to do it. You don't want to be like later in an objection, like, but John, you said this earlier, but now you're saying this. People don't want to feel judged in that context, but in this context, now they don't want to be congruent, meaning that they want to stay consistency, right? And I think Chris Voss's book or some book, they talk about consistency bias, which means that people want to stay consistent with the way they view themselves as, right? So if they're going to give advice that's to one person, then if they don't follow it, now they feel like a hypocrite. They don't want that. So it's now puts them in a state where like, well, I guess I need to follow my own advice.
Fair enough.
Because ultimately, what do you value more, man? Money or time?
Time.
Why time?
So now we're going to what do you value more, money or time? Whenever someone says, I'll do it on my own, that's a good reframe you can use because everyone's going to say time, right? And then now I ask them why. So you want to ask why or why not on things where you want to solidify the idea in their head. So they said time. Now what he's going to do is he's going to tell himself, he's telling me, but in reality he's telling himself why time is more important. And if they value time more, then they're less likely to go watch free YouTube videos and try to figure this out on their own, right? If they say that they value money more, at that time you can go into a reframe. Can I offer perspective on that? They'll say, yeah, sure. So what is something out of the two where once it's gone, it's gone forever? It's like, well, time, right? If something's gone, once it's gone forever, what would you value more? They're like, yeah, time. And then you can go into that. So you want to ask questions where it doesn't matter what way they answer, you still win. It still brings you closer to the sale.
Because time's worth more than money.
Yeah, I mean, money, once you have the skills, you can keep making more back, right? But the thing about time is that once it's gone forever.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how do you feel like your perspective on it needs to change that way you don't have to keep going downhill where your peers are going?
So a couple things that happen here. One thing, how do you feel like your perspective on it needs to change? Now we're getting a belief shift or perspective shift, because if we can shift their beliefs, now we can shift their actions, right? But it starts with the beliefs, because if they don't shift their belief, then now they're not going to do anything. That's why I did that. Also, I used a visual cue with my hand, like that way your sales don't have to keep going down. That's something I learned from Jeremy as well, Jeremy Miner. If you do that, then now they visually see like, oh shit, my sales are going down. Brings out more pain point.
While your peers are going up.
So why are you doing this? Your peers are going up because nobody wants to feel left behind while their peers are going up. There's a comparison frame.
How do you feel
You see how now, if you look at his hand, now he's doing this because he's more nervous, right? He's like, oh shit, this guy's right. That's when you know the frames are hitting.
perspective on that needs to change?
He didn't answer, so I re-ask it. You don't want to move on until they answer the question.
Oh, I need to start valuing time more.
Yeah.
I need to actually do the things that confirm that show that I value time more.
He's convincing himself.
Yeah. And we both know you need to, but are you willing to take proactive actions, man? Otherwise, I don't know. Things are going down.
So he said, I need to. So what I typically do is, yeah, we both know you need to, but are you willing to? That is important because they'll always say, I need to. Now, when somebody says, I need to, that's not a commitment. Because how many people do you know that are drinking, smoking, overweight, that keep saying, I need to stop smoking, I need to quit drinking, I need to go to the gym, but they never do. So it's just a convenient way of saying, it's like when they say I need to, they feel better about themselves because they're like, oh, I know what to do, but they're not doing it, right? So we're going to, are you willing to? That's more of a commitment-based word, and then now we're going to go into it.
Yeah, you're right. I'm willing, definitely.
I ask why, because again, going back to the previous concept, now he's going to convince himself why he needs to do it and why he's willing to change the way he's thinking.
Why?
Because I need to earn more money. I need to earn more money.
Yeah.
That's the gist of it. And the sooner I can do that, the better off I'll be.
I don't blame you on that. Okay, we just pre-handled your objection. All right, now let's move on to the next stage. So let's do this, okay? Because I want to make sure what we do would work. But I guess besides the basic YouTube that we've been seeing, because it's only like a little bit, but were you out there looking for ways to actually get better sales and close more deals, or what else have you been doing?
Now, if you look at my body language, let's go back again.
So let's do this, okay? Because I want to make sure what we do would work. But I guess besides the basic YouTube that we've been seeing,
first, let's say basic YouTube. What that does is it diminishes the value of the alternative option, which is YouTube. Because like the objection you could get is like, I'll just watch more YouTube. The basic, you're diminishing the value, right? So whenever you have a low ticket to high ticket upsell process, or maybe some YouTube videos, you can say stuff like, yeah, like the basic YouTube videos. I like the introductory course you went over. When you do that, now it differentiates the program that you're going to sell later to what they've been trying.
because it's only like a little bit.
And also, if you look at my body language, I'm doing this. I also learned this from Jeremy. When you do this, like the basic, like the body language, and then in my face, you can see my beautiful face, you're kind of frowning a little bit. It also diminishes the value of that. Okay. So we used to have a funnel where it was they would buy like a low ticket thing, $27 to maybe like a couple $100. And then now they hop on a sales call and my job was to sell them on a high ticket program. I used to get hit with, yeah, maybe I'll watch the guide that I bought first. Maybe I'll go through the basic course that I bought first. And then I'll just get hit with a lot of those objections. But once I started doing this, along with other things like building urgency, which we'll be talking about later in the call, then now I just reduced a lot of those objections. You may not get rid of it 100% completely, but it reduces it.
Were you out there looking for ways to actually get better sales and close more deals, or what else have you been doing?
And now we're going to what they tried in the past to try to solve the problem, because from that, different things are going to happen. Either they tried something or they didn't. Now, if they didn't do it, now what is the reason? Because whatever, if they give you an excuse, and now, if you don't pre-handle that, what objection are you going to get at the end? The exact same objection, right? Let me think about it, so on and so forth. And if they did try something, what happened there? Did they actually put in the work? Or did it not work even though they put in the work? If so, what happened? Because if you don't address that, then later what objection are you going to get? Well, listen, I tried something like this before, so I don't know if this will work for me. So now you can address it, what happened there, and pre-handle it.
Yeah, I mean, like, for example, I listened to your vague customer video. I listened to your type A customer video because I have those two types of customers on the phone
Yeah.
constant.
Of course.
And I feel like for the type A one, I find myself rushing through those conversations and going at their tempo instead of going at the tempo that needs to be.
Why?
Hmm?
Why?
I ask why in that way. He's like, oh, why? Almost like confused, like, oh, I don't get it. Because now it sees more doubts. So especially when you want to seed more doubt. When I say doubt, they're doubting themselves why they don't know how to do things to get the outcome. Because the more they do that, then now they're like, oh shit, I need a solution. Now, caveat here, if they're already so unconfident, you don't want to do this because now they're going to feel so unconfident that they do not believe that they can actually get to their goal. So they're not going to buy anything or take action either. But for most people, especially with the more egotistical people, more vague people, you want to bring out more of this doubt because now they're like, I guess I don't know how to do that. And now they need more help.
I don't feel confident. I mean, like, I figure part of me is like, hey, great, we can close this deal. I just got to show them it's a good value and I can do it. And like, the sooner I can do that, great. With the vague customers, it's like, okay, now it's like pulling teeth. And
Pulling teeth.
yeah,
What do you mean by that?
I probe into that because I can tell that's a problem, that's an emotional keyword. So I probe into that to agitate his pain.
well, I mean, it's like, all right, if this is not urgent for you, there's nothing I can do to help you. When it becomes a problem, come back to us.
Yeah. Kind of like how you did like a minute
Yeah.
ago.
Exactly.
Gonna
Yeah.
be trouble. I mean, that's why you enjoy working as sales
I'm pointing that out. Now he's laughing. He's like, ah, shit, you got me.
professionals like yourself, by the way, because sales is kind of like a mirror.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the reason why I can talk to you with urgency is because I have urgency with my goals.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's congruent. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So let's just say I can help you with that, right? Add more urgency.
That's called a frame. That's in this regard, it's called a congruency frame, right? So we talked about the consistency bias earlier on, right? That's why I love working with sales professionals like closers because now, we have congruency. We get outside of our comfort zone. We take action on our own goals so we can help our prospect do that. You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, that's right. And now they're buying into the frame. A frame is essentially an idea, right? Imagine a literal frame. You're putting them through the idea, and then once they go through that, now they have the same beliefs of that frame, right? Now, this works for not only for salespeople, but also every avatar, every type of prospect you can ever talk to, okay? If you talk to business owners, if you talk to 9-to-5 people, it just got to be tailored. We can go through every example right now. That's something that we help our students in our implementation program, Real Sales System. But for now, just have that idea, and then you can apply for your offer as well.
Add more urgency. In terms of support, what kind of support do you feel like you need so you could close more deals and get to your goal?
So now we're going to what is the ideal criteria and their desired solution, right? Because early on what we did, okay, so he wants to close more deals. He wants to bring out better pain points from people. Okay, the obvious, but what about support though? So if you're selling some sort of coaching program, even for like Done For You Legion, like what is the support? What kind of support do they want? Do they want accountability? Do they want feedback? Do they want like, week by week reporting on what the ads are doing? The reason why we do that is because now, later in the pitch, what do? We give them what they want. And then that way the prospect feels like, man, like I need exactly that. But they told you earlier. You see how that works?
I mean, like, it'd be great if, I think it's going to be impossible to share recorded calls. I can share a script, but like based on your videos and like based on my own experience, having a fixed script for every single client that has a different background and different need, I don't think that's going to work. Like having some sort of flow chart or like way of thinking, like, and then just like learning good habits so that I can be more spontaneous and think of the ideas quicker rather than having to read a script or like, oh, hang on, let me look up this question here that I had to ask you next.
Yeah, because imagine what's going to prospect's mind as you're doing that.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
And just be able to like be more in the moment and understand their answers because we have to understand their problem.
Yeah.
But we also need a lot of data from them. We need to know their income, their expenses, what assets they have.
Yep.
Are they married, filing single? Are they married, filing separately, married, filing jointly, single? And it's like all these other like check boxes that we have to tick and that I have to input, but I want to be present during the conversation so that I can have that conversational jujitsu with them.
Yeah, For sure. So let's say you learned that. What's the goal? Like, how much commission would you like to be making on a monthly basis? Let's say 3 months from now.
So I do that on purpose. So how much commissions would you like to be making? Let's say 3 months from now. I say that on purpose because if you say it too smooth, okay, so how much commissions would you like to be making from 3 months from now? I mean, it's not the worst case scenario, but it seems a bit scripted, right? If it's too smooth, now you don't want to be doing like too many ums and ahs because now you feel like you look like a moron. But like, let's say, I don't know, 3 months from now. It seems more like a natural conversation.
Well, their top sellers do between 20 to 30K a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about for yourself?
For me,
So he didn't really answer the question, okay, these people are doing this, but he didn't talk about his own goal, so I re-asked it.
for me,
Yeah.
I'd be happy if I was doing 15K a month, but I'd be
Okay.
comfortable if I was doing 15K a month.
Well, the thing about
from-
comfortable is you don't want just what's happy or what makes you comfortable. What do you
Correct.
actually
No.
want?
Well, I mean,
So I reframe it to get more urgency because like, I'll be comfortable with 15K a month. That's not really like a strong desire, right? So what does it do? It's not as much urgency, so we're gonna reframe it as like, well, that's you being comfortable. What do you actually want though? So now it builds up more demand for the thing he wants and builds more urgency.
the reason for this job is I'm doing a remodel on a third property I bought.
Great.
And so I need the funds to pay for the construction and the monthly interest costs. So for me, as long as that's working, the other businesses grow. But from a sales perspective, just having the skills and knowing that I'm the best at something, not
Yeah.
even the best, just like good at something. And so that I could close my term rental clients would
Mhm.
be like, okay, I can run these skills here, transfer it here, and use it in other facets of my life.
Okay.
That's the goal for me. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I would measure myself and have that confidence in myself to sell anything based
Okay.
on my ability to be one of the top salesmen at this company.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Tony Robbins has a saying, right? Which is you take you with you.
Right.
Meaning that wherever you go, it doesn't matter different industry or not, different business. If you have the skills, you can get there. If not, like it's gonna keep following you around, right? So
Mhm.
okay, so like around 15, 20K, and where are you at now? So we can see the gap.
Yeah, that's pretty low. I'm on base salary, and we're not
Okay.
able to collect commissions until we do over 15K in sales per cycle, per pay cycle.
Okay. So what's the base at the moment?
Right now, it's about $16 an hour, so about 2,000 a month net.
I see. Okay. So how would things be different though? You being able to actually, you have the skills, top salesman, making 10, 15, 20K. The property, that's it, right? But what else would you be able to do with the extra money coming in that you can't do now?
Well, just keep reinvesting in my side business.
I asked it that way because the property seemed kind of cool, but I wanted to pull out more of an emotional answer. So like, okay, besides that, what would that allow you to do? And the reason why you want to get that is because people making more money is just a means to an end. People don't want more money. People don't want more time. They want to make more money so that they can do X and Y and Z, whatever the thing they want to do. People want to have more time so that way they can do this and this and this. So that's the whole point of this section here is we're really, people call it future pacing out, right? The desire situation, how things be different.
Investing in my side business. That's the thing. And with that, I get that financial freedom. And then I'd be able to quit this
Okay.
job. Like having the skills are more
Yeah.
important than the job and the money because with the skills, the money comes.
What does the financial freedom look like for you, man?
It was a bit broad. Financial freedom, time freedom, like it's something, but it's a vague term, so I clarify.
Working on my own cartoons. I'm an animator.
Oh, all right. Interesting.
Yeah.
So is that the main driver or what's the main driver, man? Because if you're going to put in all this work, get outside of your comfort zone, put in all this work, then the payoff needs to be worthwhile,
Mhm.
right? So what's that North Star for you?
Are you talking about like financial? Like
At this point, it just seemed like okay answer, so I wanted to pull out more of a strong driver for him, which is why I literally asked him that question.
what's the goal
Well,
financially?
in terms of what you want to be able to do, right? It's like you being able to like, is that like your ideal life? Like you being able to like draw cartoons and anime or what's the
Right.
end you're
So,
chasing?
I mean, I want to have my own animation studio, and I've
Okay.
got like a couple of animators in mind. I know their base salary, and I know what it costs to get them on board so that we can crank out cartoons fairly quickly. Even if the cartoons never made money, The goal
Okay.
is to have a different source of income
Okay.
so that I don't have to worry about it, so I can have that financial freedom and creatively make the cartoons the way I want.
Why is that important? The cartoons.
That's what I do. That's what I do. Telling the stories that I want to tell,
Okay.
telling it the way I want to tell it, visualizing it the way I want to visualize it,
Okay.
having that control.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. Like
Okay.
creative expression.
Okay. So that's the main driver for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So you being able to do that, where you can quit this job, you can just draw cartoons, you're doing your anime studio. What would that do for you?
No, give me a pretty comfortable life. Yeah. I mean, I'd be able to live life on my terms.
I mean, you're kind of comfortable now.
But I'm not living on my terms. I'm comfortable in the sense that everybody gets it's like water, it's settled at the level it settles at.
Okay.
It takes the form of wherever it's at, and it's not taking the form of what I want to take it, the form that I want.
So what happens if you don't do anything about this and you
I'll
keep
probably
at
stay at the
2 grand a
same
month?
level.
What happens?
I could have probed deeper into that, but he seemed more like he was more in pain that he wants to go towards pleasure, so I didn't go too deep into that. So you'll see different prospects types. Some people are more fixated on getting out of the pain they're in, and some people like they're running more towards pleasure. So depending on, and you can tell the way they're talking about it. It's like if they keep bringing up the same thing, was like I'm in like the position I'm in now, it's tough, da 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 da. Then now that'll be the main selling point for them, which is why we draw out something and then we straight into the consequence. So what happens if you don't, and XYZ problems keep continuing.
That point.
I'd stay at the same level of that.
What's the day-to-day ramifications?
It was a bit broad, so I was like, I'll be staying at the same level. If they say like it'll be bad, it would be I'll just be at the same spot. At that point, you probe deeper into that. Just like how in the problem section you'd probe. Same thing here in the consequence section, which is basically like an expanded version of the problem, right? So like, what's the day-to-day ramifications?
Less money, more stress. Like right now, I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I get home at 9. I'm in bed at 10.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You want to settle for that?
So,
Hey, you don't have to do something about this now. You can just keep doing the basic YouTube, try to figure it all out on your own, have another 3, 6, 12 months.
I could, but I mean, I'd rather not.
So I bring up the YouTube thing again just to really tie it off. So whenever they said earlier that, I've been being a resource mode for the last 3 to 6 months, you can bring up again here, right? I mean, you don't have to do anything about this. Now you can just keep being a resource mode for another 6 months. So at that point, they're going to like, yeah, no. And also, like the standard way of asking this question is like, why now? Hey, why do something about this now instead of later? I like to do a takeaway at this point. I just be like, I mean, you don't have to do anything about this now. You can just just push it off. So when you've done the previous steps correctly, you can basically take it away from them. And now they're like, they want the thing more, right? So they're like, now they have to justify, no, I have to do it now because of this and this and this reason.
Honestly, it comes down to whether I can afford it right now because of my previous, like I said, debt obligations and my low income right now. So like this 2,000 a month is right now is what I got to work with. And about 66% of that, 67% of that is going towards paying for the construction costs and the mortgage on a new place. So that's
also about being resourceful.
Right.
Because there's a difference between having resources and being resourceful. Because listen, I've talked to people that live in India making $200 a month. They've go found money. So given that you found what you're looking for, are you willing to get resourceful so you don't have to end up in this stressful situation?
So whenever they say, listen, I'm like tight on money, in the discovery, if they say that I'll do something like that. Are you willing to become resourceful? And I'll also put in, given you find what you're looking for, that's also great, especially from our colder prospects, because if you don't put that in, they may say something like, well, it depends, what do you guys do? Like, how much do you guys charge? So I say, well, aside from us, given that you do find what you're looking for, are you actually willing to be resourceful? That way you can get outcome, or that way you can get rid of problem. And then they say yes, and now you get the commitment. Because do not give up on broke leads. It just baffles my mind whenever I'm reviewing a sales call. And then if the closer, they just end the call because the prospect didn't have that much money, right? I was doing like a hiring run for different businesses I was training, and then I had some sales calls or closers that were applying for those. And then I listened to some closers where the prospect doesn't have much money. They mentioned that in like the first like 5 minutes or so, and the closer's like, yeah, okay. I mean, in that case, let's just we can just end the call here. Just feel free to reach out when you do have the money. That's just nonsense. They're already on the call. They already blocked out an hour of your time. What else are you gonna do? Watch YouTube? Like you're gonna go watch YouTube and have the dick in your hand anyway, playing PlayStation. So if they're already there, just go through the call. Just do this. Like get them to become resourceful. Because like I'm saying in this call recording, I have had prospects that are living in India making $200 a month. And then I get them to want the thing. I build urgency and I set next steps. I have a follow-up process in place. And so they go get the money, right? Whether from their parents or whatever other things may be. And then they may not be a sale right then and there. Sometimes they turn into a sale, right? Because we have ways of doing that. But also they may be a sale in the next day, week, month, year. And then these things compound. And if I didn't do this, we call this pipeline closing deals from your pipeline. If I hadn't done that, I mean, when I was making $228,000 a year in commissions, I would have lost out about half of those, but over 100 grand in commissions based on my data tracker. So listen, if you like leaving money on the table, if you like just leaving 100 grand, not having that in your bank account, just do your thing. But I just like to do it this way. And no princess closers. The closers that we train, the closers that come to us, they're not princess closers. They ain't no bitch, so they like to do this. It's up to you though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can do that. Yeah.
All right, cool. So based on what you told me, what we do would work. So if you want, I can just walk you through what we do, how we do it, and help you make that happen.
Okay.
Want to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now we're transitioning into the pitch. At this point, common mistake, people are a bit unconfident here. They're like, okay, I mean, I think what we do will work. They're very unsure. At this point, none of the neutral shit, right? Because at this point, you just sound timid and you just, as my buddy Jun would say, you look like you have virgin vibes, right? So at this point, you go, cool, but I mean, based on what you're saying, what we do would work. So just go unconfident. So, because now we're going to the pitch, right? The assertiveness you have in a sales call is kind of like a crescendo. So I play music when I was in school, very Asian, I know. I was actually the lead violinist for different orchestras I was in. And in music, we have something called a crescendo, which kind of looks like this, right? So as the time goes on, the music note gets louder, right? So on the call, when you first hop on, it's not like you're being timid either, but the assertiveness, the directness you have on the call increases as time goes on.
How do they feel as a prospect?
Comfortable.
You typically wouldn't ask that on a regular sales call, but because of sales training, I just asked them like, hey, how do you feel?
And I mean, like,
because I believe in my ability, so at that point, I already know the answer is going to be somewhat positive. So have them convince themselves like, yeah, that was pretty good. So I want to sell like that. And in the program, we walk it through, I do it.
I know I can be resistant, but at the same time, I feel like I'm pretty open sometimes about my goals. So I mean, it felt natural speaking to you.
For sure. So that's what we help you with. By the way, that was all from the flowchart.
Okay.
That was all scripted. Yeah. So that's what we help you with in Real Sales System. That's our implementation program. Okay. So that goes for 12 weeks. The first thing we're going to work on is productizing your sales calls using the sales decision tree. Okay. Because I think you mentioned that sometimes you don't really go deeper into pain and sometimes you're not quite sure.
At that point, we're using something called a unique mechanism. So this is more advanced. You don't have to worry about this right now, but as you go along in your journey, you'll just more use advanced concepts and strategies like that. So a unique mechanism is something that are not used to, something different. Because people don't want something better. People want something different, right? If you look at online, like everything, even the term high-ticket closer back then, it was a unique mechanism. Because if you think about it, what is high-ticket closing? It's fucking sales, right? But somebody, Sifu, our Lord and Savior, coined the term high-ticket closing. So now it's like, oh man, this thing's like new. And so they blew up, right? I think at the peak of their business, I think they're doing like 3 million or 5 million a month. Absolutely fucking smashing, right? So there's obviously different marketing stuff they've done as well. But in the sales context, so sales is basically marketing in the one-on-one context, right? And so, okay, productizing your sales calls using a decision tree. So we do the unique mechanism, and then now we go into, you know how you mentioned XYZ problem? Okay, here's how to solve it. Here's how to do that, which means that now you get an XYZ outcome. That's the whole framework of the pitch.
Where to take it with vague prospects, and because of that, you end up losing deals.
So you're plugging in the problem I told you earlier.
Yeah. So that's because you're not. You may have a script, but you may not know where to take the different scenarios that happen, right?
Mhm.
Because when was the last time a sales conversation when exactly how the script's written out? I can't remember. You know what I mean? So in order for us to solve that, I'll actually show you.
That's another advanced thing too, is I'm also explaining why what they tried in the past didn't work, aka the sales scripts. Because you mentioned the scripting earlier. Right? So you're just, it's another marketing term, justifying their past failure. We do that. What that means is we're showing and explaining, helping them realize why what they tried in the past didn't work and why this will be different.
This is what it looks like. You may have seen a little bit of online, there's little pieces of it, but it's the whole structure. Okay. So
Okay.
you talk about going deeper into pain. If they say this, you go here. If they answer it this way, you take it there.
Mhm.
So what that does is, don't get me wrong, you still have to study and practice a lot. It's not a magic pill. But what that does is now gives you more predictability and consistency in your sales calls to go deeper, even with the vague prospects, so you can actually close more deals.
Mhm.
Make sense?
That's the outcome.
Right.
What's your thoughts on that?
So you can't just go into like feature mode, like, hey, here's a flowchart, hey, here's a coaching call, here's some course. But what does it do? What problem does it solve? And what outcome does it help them do that? So in the pitch, how it works is it logically makes sense in their heads while simultaneously emotionally speaking to their pain point and the outcome that they want. That's the art of the pitch.
I like it. I like
Yeah.
it because it's sort of like the way I navigate problems at my rental properties. And this is with existing tenants. So if they do this, I do that. If they do this, I do that. It's sort of like
Exactly.
zagging. So it's a process I understand better than, and it would definitely help to find a way to apply that to any sales process.
Exactly. So that's the first part. Next part is pipeline closing. Okay. Because a lot of people just focus on what's happening in the sales call, but what they're not focusing on is how to close deals during your no-shows and your off time.
Mhm.
Right? Because if you're not leveraging that, then you're usually losing out on tons of sales in the meantime.
Mhm.
Right? So how we solve that is we help you close deals from follow-ups. Okay. And you also said that people opted in.
Mhm.
We help you how to close from that, how to close from referrals. Okay. If you have upsells and renewals, we give you SOPs, scripting, and trainings for that. That way, you know exactly what to say when you're picking up the phone to be able to actually close deals. Not just relying on the inbound, right? But being able to
Mhm.
close them. Okay. Which you gives you another stream of those questions that are coming in.
Mhm.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And also in your pitch, you want to make things tangible. So instead of what we did here is I didn't say, hey, I teach you how to do follow-ups. Because it seems more esoteric. That's why coaching sales can be a more difficult sale than selling physical products as an example. Because with like a solar panel, okay, great, like here's this thing, right? If you buy a laptop, okay, like here's this thing. I get it, okay, like I see it in my eyes. But with coaching, it's like this information that's like may or may not be there. So it's like, okay, like SOPs, trainings for that. So now we're making it more tangible. So, but not only stopping there, but also like what outcome does it help them get?
How do you feel about that?
That feels pretty good because
And then now we're doing a temperature check for each pillar, each element of the pitch to see how does he feel about it. He's going to tell himself why he likes it. If he has a concern, I can quickly address it.
I mean, right now the way it works is when I get somebody on the phone and they're at their job and they're like, "Can you call me back at this time?"
Yep.
Part of it feels like a blow off, and they answered the phone without knowing that they were going to be marketed to. And two, it's like, okay, if they do show up, they already feel a little bit uninvested
Mm. Yeah.
because they're like, oh, I'm a man of my word, so I'll just answer this phone call right now.
Like reluctantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we'll work on that. All right. Last part is implementation and accountability. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because you know the problem with most sales trainings is that okay, here's like 300 recorded videos, adios, good luck, figure it out.
Mhm.
Right? In that case, some people can figure it out, but most people just they don't know what to do, right? So how we structure that is yeah, there's obviously SOPs and training videos, obviously go through that. But the main part is the implementation. So we have 5 times a week.
We also did that because he mentioned the watching like the YouTube video. So we're differentiating just the YouTube versus the implementation of the accountability.
Group training sessions on Zoom. Okay. You don't have to hop on all of those, but it's there if you need it. And so you can actually role play and get feedback from me.
Mhm.
Okay. If you have a call recording, you can bring it as long as we don't show their face. That's all Gucci. That's all fine. I can give you feedback. All right. There's also one-on-one sessions as well. Now, just to be clear, these aren't like, hey, let's have a one-on-one and just talk about whatever. But when you first enroll, we have a game plan session. So giving you specific action items based on your specific situation. Okay. So we have that. That way, you're not only just knowing how to do it, you can actually do it and do it well. Obviously, it's for your responsibility to implement it. But as long as you have that, we have the support.
Yeah. Okay.
Does it all make sense with the structure we just laid out?
It seems like you have 5 Zoom sessions a week and you have one-on-one sessions.
One thing I would just add in a high side is like, yeah, that way you don't have to keep seeing your sales go down while your peers are going up. I would say something like that to speak to his emotional side.
Where we can talk. I did not quite understand the point of the one-on-one sessions. I mean, it sounds like
it's for specific parts. Like for example, like when you first enroll, there's a game plan session. Basically, okay, here are the specific action items. We do that, right?
What do you mean by game plan?
So that's what I mean, is based on your situation, setting specific action items. Because everyone's situation is different. So, okay, first do this, second do this, and third do this. In your case, I'm going to tell you, probably you're not going deeper into pain, so we need to work on that. You're probably not doing enough activity, so we're going to work on that. How to close the from no-shows.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
Temperature check.
Sounds good.
Do you feel like this could help you get to where you want to go?
Probably immediately. Why is that immediately? So they're going to go like, yeah, but, or like, yeah, just like control the pace. Why is that?
Definitely.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, just having somebody be like, do this, this, and this would make it so much easier for me. Because then I can go in with the game plan for that day at the job and execute and come back the next day with results and either do it with talk it over with the Zoom group or do it in the one-on-one session.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I don't really have anything else to go over with you. Okay. So the funds required for you to get the support, get to 15K a month, get rid of the stress is.
Okay, and what are the options for paying?
Painful.
Paid in full?
Yeah.
I can't do that right now.
Money aside, do you feel like this could help you get?
So I tell them, well, Piffy, pay in full. So I do that. So I don't immediately drop into the payment plan right away because now this is going to kill your cash collection. So the first priority is obviously PIF, paid in full. If they can't do that, then now we're going to start offering payment plan one by one.
Terrible.
Absolutely.
First, we isolate the value, right? Money aside, do you feel like this could help you, right? And they're going to say, absolutely. Okay, cool. So now the value is there, right? So objection handling isn't really about opening doors. Objection handling is about shutting all the other doors. That way we only have one way to exit, which is a sale. There's a process of elimination. So with this, money aside, okay? So they're going to say yes, and we're going to go into why. So now the value is there, right? So the value door is shut. They cannot now go into like, yeah, I don't see the value in it because they literally just said that. They still could, but we're eliminating it. And then after all the other doors are shut, then now, okay, cool, only one door, which is the sale. So it's kind of like process of elimination when you're in school, in math class. I fell asleep in math class, but okay, cool. So there's 5 answers that you could do. It's not this one, it's not that one, it's not this one, it's not this one. Okay, there must be option number 3 then. That's the whole how it works.
So is it more so the upfront amounts, or if it could help you break this up into smaller chunks, would that make it easier for you?
Absolutely.
So some people like to go like tackle the prospect's mindset or their fear right away. I don't like to do that just because it could genuinely be the money. Even if they give you like another objection. I'll give you an example. So on one of the offers I was on, there was a closer where with the prospect, they're on the phone for an hour and a half. Literally hour and a half of objection handling, like fear reframes, hitting them with a mindset bat. And then after the hour and a half, the rep finally went, because he had to go, he's like, hey, listen, I mean, we have some financing options. You want to check that out? And the prospect was like, is it financing options? And the rep was like, yeah. And the prospect, oh, you should have told me an hour and a half ago. I would have done that. I was like, okay, well, do you want to apply for it? He's like, yeah. And then he got approved for it, and then he moved forward. That's why it's just a lot easier. And then when I've got some competitor objections, it's like, yeah, I'm going to talk with this company. Yeah, not a problem. Money aside. And then I just offer them a 2-pay, and then they move forward. So I didn't even have to deal with the whole competitor objection, right? And also what you can also do is if someone where money is genuinely the issue, that's the only issue, you start hitting them with like fear reframes, then now they're gonna get pissed off because like, dude, it's just the money. So you'd rather play safe and do it this way. Now it's more efficient. And then now you don't get lost in the objection handling either, right? Because now you know exactly, we have a whole decision tree for the objection handling too. Maybe we'll cover in a different one. But we'll give to our students. It's like, okay, go to this objection first, then this one, then this one, then this one, and then after that one.
Break it up in a smaller chunks, that would definitely help.
Okay, so let's break it up because as you can imagine, people don't have these skills and processes yet. They may not have the whole upfront amounts, right? So in that case, we can do half down to start.
And I say that with make money offers, because as you can imagine, people don't have these skills, people don't have the XYZ, they may not have the whole upfront amounts, the whole thing all at once, right? So I slightly seed it there to help them realize that, oh, like that's why I don't have the money. So I need the thing to make the money.
And another half 30 days from now. And then make it easier.
Do you have something like a Klarna or something, or an Afterpay?
Potentially. Are you American citizen, or how does
Yes.
it work?
I'm an American citizen. I have pretty good credit.
Okay,
So,
potentially. But you may not get approved for that. So does the half down, half later, does that work?
If they ask for a financing option where you're going to the payment plan, go to the payment plan first, because if you jump to the financing, even if they have really good credit, that doesn't guarantee that they'll get approved for it. Now, after they get denied, then now it's like, now they're more reluctant because now they feel more like shit because they just got denied from credit, from the financing. And also it just adds another friction point because if you do the payment plan, it'll just be quicker. Because with the financing, now they gotta wait for the thing, it takes longer. So ideally go to the payment plan. And then if that doesn't work, then go to the financing.
That's still too much. right
Okay,
now.
so let's do a bit smaller, right? Let's say we do a month for 3 months, 30 days apart. Would that work?
For 3 months, let's see.
Mhm.
No, I can do 1 month for 6 months.
Yeah, we usually don't do that. So like 3 months, that'll be the smallest one.
Um, yeah, I'm not even gonna have any money left for gas then, because my drive is an hour long each way.
Can you work remotely?
No, they don't let us work remotely.
Okay. Well, which one of your expenses could you cut to pay that for gas? Like subscriptions,
Right
spending.
now,
At this point, now we're helping them get resourceful. Instead of giving up right away, it's like, okay, feel free to reach out whenever you're ready. No. None of that leaf in the wind shit. We sit there, we help them get the money together because that's our job to help these people. Because if they don't, if you let them off the hook, they go do whatever. Now, like how many times they actually come back? So their problems stay the same. You don't make money, lose, no bueno. So we help them out.
I live in a pretty Spartan lifestyle. Like I've moved back in with my folks, so I don't have to pay rent. Right now, everything is going towards the construction costs and the interest costs on mortgage. I can't cut back on that.
Okay. What we could do is that you see your credit's pretty good, yeah? What's your credit?
Over 800.
Yeah, what we could try is, so there's Amex Blue, which is an interest-free credit card for 15
Mhm.
months. Okay. Now, you may not get approved for it even with good credit score just because how the economy works these days, right? But we could give that a shot where you could apply for Amex Blue and then we can see if you get approved for that. Want to try that?
So I'm prefacing that, hey, you may not get approved. Even if they have 800 credit score, still warn them that, hey, you may not get approved for it. Because, in fact, they may not get approved for it. Because how financing works or applying for credit cards, how this works, is they not only look at the credit score of the person, they also look at different factors like debt to income ratio, credit history, a bunch of other stuff. And some of the things they don't even tell you and they'll never tell you. So if you go like, oh, you'll definitely get approved for that. And then if they get denied, now they feel like shit. They get more disappointed. Because the higher you set the expectations, what's the best case scenario? Well, it meets the expectation, but you framed it like that was supposed to happen anyway. But if they don't meet the expectation, now they're disappointed, which is no bueno, right? So I like to do that and also almost warn them, like, hey, you may not get approved for it. Because if they see the screens like, hey, you've been denied, they're like, oh, at least this guy warned me. So they're not as disappointed. Because the worst thing is they get declined and they feel like shit and they don't want to try anymore to go find ways to get the money, which is why we did it. So if you have different financing options for the companies that you sell for, like, I don't know, Elective, I don't know, Wise or different things like that, you know what I mean? Like financing options, Klarna, Upfirm, then do that. If you don't have that, then Amex Blue, anyone can do it, is interest-free credit card for 15 months, at least at the moment. So you can send them the link and then now they apply and then you can just walk them through the process.
Amex Blue, is that a card or is that a program?
It's a credit card, interest free for 15 months.
Amex Blue.
And I can send you the link in the Zoom chat. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I just dropped it in the Zoom chat. There we go.
Let's see.
Yeah. And then when you open up, you'll see a screen. It'll be like a blue button that says apply now.
Yep, got it.
Yep. And no need to get discouraged if you don't get approved. Again, with today's economy, like it happens. So no need to get heartbroken. So we can explore other
You want to do this as they're filling out the thing.
options too.
Okay.
And then after that point, what ends up happening is we do initial payments, down payments, get them started, and then the card came in like a few days later, and then we did the rest of the payments, and then the other payment for the payment plan, and that's how we got the job done. If you learned something from the sales call breakdown, this is what we help high-ticket closers and business owners with in our implementation program, a Real Sales System. You already saw the pitch in the sales call recording, so I don't have to go too deep into that. But what you can also do is you can see other sales call recordings that I've done that I can't really publicly share here on YouTube for obvious reasons. And also you can get your own sales call reviewed by me as well, because just this basic YouTube video, they cannot review your call and give you feedback on what you're doing well and where you're fucking up on. That keeps having you losing your deals and your commissions, keeping you stuck at whatever you're at right now. So you can bring those call recordings, we can review, we can have your role play and give feedback on the spot. That way we can actually implement it and help you get to your goal. 10K, 15K, 20K, 25K a month, whatever your goal is. So go to the first link in the description box below. You can book a demo call with someone on our team or myself. Just as a warning though, you do need to meet certain selection criteria for us to be able to help you. Number one, you are already on an offer. So if you're not on an offer right now, but you still want to get the SOPs, get trained so you can land a killer offer, we can do that too. But just have the expectation that you're not going to get an immediate ROI right then and there, right? Not that we promise anything. Number two, you are a closer, meaning that you are basically taking sales calls. If you're a setter, you want to learn this again to become a killer closer, then you can do that too. Again, same expectation as point number one. Point number three is that you're in the high ticket space. You're selling coaching programs, lead gen services, something similar in that regard. If you need help with cold calling or door knocking, that's not something we help at the moment, so it may not be the best fit for you. Number four, most importantly, you're not a princess closer, meaning that if you're not wanting to do outbound and call leads during your no-shows, please do not apply. If you just complain and bitch, be fixated on the problem. If you're an energy drag, please do not apply. I do not want more headaches in my life. So again, if you meet the selection criteria, if you want to get to 10, 15K, 20K, 25K a month and fucking kill it, and if you're willing to put in the work, go to the first link, book a call, and we'll see if we can help you.